What's up, Algebra 1 students? Another homework tutorial here with Mr. Ford. This is 4.1.2, 425 through 430. All we got to do in 425 is write expressions to represent the quantities described below. We don't need to solve anything, so we got to read carefully and pull out variables and think about how we translate things. Geraldine is 4 years younger than Tom. I'm going to go ahead and write that G is equal to T minus 4. Bam! That's popping out at me right away. Geraldine's age is 4 less than Tom's age. If Tom is T years old, how old is Geraldine? Bam, we took care of that already. Also, Stephen is twice as old as Geraldine. How old is he? So Stephen is 2 times G. S equals 2 times G. You might even write that S equals 2 times T minus 4. If you're feeling kind of advanced, you could plug that in right there. There you go. All we're doing is writing these expressions. 150 people went to see Ode to Algebra performed in the school auditorium. If the number of children that attended the performance was C, how many adults attended? So 150 people went total. This is kind of a tricky one. There are two categories of people. There are children and there are adults. So one way to think about this is C plus A is 150. So as far as the number of adults that went, the number of adults is the total of 150 minus the children. Good way to think about that. Question C is dating ourselves a little bit, but the cost of a new CD is $14.95. The cost of a video game is $39.99. How much would C, CDs, and V, video games cost? Well, it's $14.95 times C and $39.99 times V. There's your expression. That's all you got to write. You don't need to solve anything. Nothing to solve for anyway. 426, Nina has some nickels and 9 pennies in her pocket. Her friend Maurice has twice as many nickels as Nina. Together, the coins are worth 84 cents. How many nickels does Nina have? Show your work and label all your answers. Here's where we got to start solving things. So, Nina has nickels and 9 pennies. So, let's start with that. Nina has some nickels. We don't know how many nickels, but we do know that each nickel is worth 5 cents. Now, I'm going to call this 5N. That's 5 cents for every nickel, plus the 9 pennies that she has in her pocket. Maurice, let's see, has twice as many nickels as Nina. So I don't know how many nickels Nina has. Wow. Yeah, so I guess N is the number of nickels. Let's say let's write it. Let's statement. Let's say N equals the number of nickels Nina has. So that means that M is just going to be 2 times N, like that. She has twice as many nickels. Although when it comes to the value of the nickels in her pocket, it should be twice 5N, I think, since each nickel is worth 5 cents. So if you take 5 times N, which is that's the amount of money that Nina has in nickels, we want to double that to get Maurice. I think that's going to be the correct way to do this. Together we have 84 cents. So I know that 5N plus 9 plus 2 times 5N, or 10N, equals 84. You could, by the way, just guess and check this problem, but I'm going to solve it algebraically. Now, adding together 5N and 10N gives me 14N plus 9 equals 84. And if I subtract the 9 off, I get 14N equals a 75. And I believe 75 divides by 14? I hope it does. It doesn't, so that means I made a mistake along the way somewhere. Hang on a minute. This one's got me a little bit confused with the Maurice has twice as many nickels as Nina. If I had just done 2N, I would have that number into 84 cents. 5. This one's got me a little bit chin scratchy over here. I'm looking up, I'm doing what I suggest you do and you get stuck. I'm looking up homework help, honestly. Let's see, 4.1.2. No, my equation is 100% correct, but why am I not getting that answer? 5n plus 5 times 2n. Is this a typo in the book? I think this might be a typo. 5 plus... Oh. I see my mistake, guys. 10 plus 5 is not 14, Ford. It's 15. Man, some of you guys are probably watching this video going like, what is even happening right now? So 15n equals 75. There we go. That's the answer I'm looking for. 75 divided by 5 is 5. There we go. We divide by 15. N is 5. So there we go. Okay. Nina has 5 nickels. Next question. Woof. 427, create a table and a graph for the rule 10 minus x squared plus 3x. Label its x and y intercepts. We're going to use the calculator for all of this. I'm going to move this off to the side. I'm going to bring calculator cam to the front. I wish to remind you how to do that in this video. The first thing you want to do is push the y equals button on your calculator. You want to clear out whatever the last Yahoo had on there. And we're going to go ahead and, let's see, we're going to plug in our formula, which is 10 minus x squared plus 3x. I'm just copying that right off my paper onto the calculator. As far as a graph goes, if we just push the zoom button and then select the zoom standard, we'll see the standard negative 10 to 10 graph, which is the exact same graph we have right there on the paper. So this one goes off that graph for a little bit, and I guess that's okay. We'll just make it happen. As far as x-intercepts, I see negative 2 right there, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right there. So 5 and negative 2 go down. And it looks like a y-intercept of 10 up there at the very top. So you can put that point there. And I'm just going to go ahead and sketch this parabola. It's going to look like this. That'll work. Goes off the graph for a little bit, but a sketch is all we need. We have 2 x-intercepts. And we have a y-intercept. And you might even write down negative 2, positive 5, positive 10 right there. For the table, we're going to do the same thing, except for we're going to push the second button first, and then we're going to push the graph button, which is going to show us the table. And that will help us create a table of values. Now, we really probably care about, if I'm looking at this correctly, we probably care about negative 4. Let's do an xy table like this. I'm going to take my x from negative 4, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's probably all you need to do for this particular situation. And the calculator is just going to tell you the answer, so you don't need to do anything. Negative 18, negative 8, 0. We already knew that one. Negative 1 is 6, 0 is 10. We also already knew that one, because right there. 1 is 12, 2 is 12, 3 is 10. 4 is 6. You see the same numbers repeated. And then 5 is also 0. Again, we already knew that one from those right there. So there's your x and your y intercepts on the table and also in the graph. Let the calculator do all of the work for you on this problem. 428, we're going to examine the graphs below and decide if it's a function and describe its domain and range. As far as a function, this is a no, and this is a yes, because of the vertical line test. The vertical line in this case is going to fail many times, whereas a vertical line always only touches the graph once in graph B. Now, as far as domain and range, for domain, we're going to scan the graph from left to right with a vertical line. Looks like we start touching it at negative 3 and stop touching it at positive 3. So negative 3 to 3. The range, very similar, except for it's going to go from negative, well, same thing, negative 3 to 3. Again, we're looking for a horizontal line there. Square brackets, please. Over here, the domain and the range, we're going to scan from left to right. This one starts at negative 2 and goes all the way to 3, so negative 2 to 3. And then this range starts at negative 2 and goes all the way up to positive 2, so negative 2 to 2. And there you go. End of story. 429. What number is not in the domain of this function, and how can you tell? Well, here's where you got to look, right there, at the bottom of the fraction. One thing you're not allowed to do in Algebra 1 is divide by 0. So, what would make the bottom of the fraction 0? That's kind of the question you got to ask yourself. What would it take for that to be 0? And the answer is, well, if you want to solve it algebraically, when is x minus 1 equals 0? Well, if you add that 1 to both sides, it happens when x is 1. So x equals 1 makes the whole fraction, the bottom of the fraction, 0, and that makes it undefined. That's it. So x equals 1 makes g of x equal to 3 over 0, which is undefined. Or as Slope Dude says, undefined. Got a couple more questions to answer here. I'm going to run out of time pretty fast, so I'm going to work on these real quick. Here we have f of negative 2. That's 3 times negative 2 minus 9, which is negative 6 minus 9, which is negative 15. Here we have g of negative 2, so that's negative 2 squared. Careful on the negatives here. That's negative positive 4, which is negative 4. What is x if f of x equals 0? So if 3x minus 9 equals 0, well, then 3x equals 9, and so x has to equal 3. This is a little bit of an algebra problem. And what is g of m? This is the easiest question in the freaking world, man. G of m, just take m and plug it in for x. Negative m squared. There it is. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this video. My third hour is going to be walking in right about now, so you might even see yourself in the background of this video. I will see you in the next one. You guys are awesome.